The train screeched to a gentle halt at Gare du Nord, and Emilia pressed her forehead to the cool glass of the window, trying to memorize every detail. Paris sprawled before her like a living postcard, cobblestone streets glimmering with morning dew, café tables scattered along the sidewalks, and a soft, golden light that made even the chaos of commuters look deliberate, like choreography. She had been dreaming of this for months, packing up her entire life in New York, leaving behind the predictable, the familiar, the safe. And yet, now that she was here, standing with her oversized pink suitcase, she felt a flutter of nerves, the kind that made her chest tighten and palms sweat. A small gust of wind caught a poster flapping on the station wall. Bienvenue à Paris, it read, and she thought, Bienvenue à moi? She hoisted her suitcase. Scanning the bustling terminal for the exit signs, she vaguely remembered from her travel app. Commuters weaved around her, espresso cups in hand, scarves fluttering, tiny dogs trotting at their owner's heels. One particularly stylish man nearly collided with her. Pardon, mademoiselle, he said, barely breaking stride, his voice dipped in smooth French elegance. Emilia muttered an awkward, "Oh, oui, pardon," and tripped slightly over her suitcase wheels. She swore she heard the station laugh. Finally, outside, the city welcomed her with honking taxis, the smell of fresh croissant, and the unmistakable hint of espresso in the cold morning air. Emilia's suitcase skidded across the sidewalk, almost toppling her over. She grabbed it just in time, and in that moment, she collided with someone. "Ah, pardon," she exclaimed. The man she bumped into had messy dark hair, warm brown eyes, and an expression that managed to be both patient and amused. He was carrying a tray with a croissant and a steaming cup of coffee, and it shook dangerously in her direction. "It's okay," he said softly, steadying his tray. "You must be new here. First day?" Emilia blinked, caught off guard by his calmness amidst the chaos of Paris. Yes, yes, she stammered. A faint smile tugged at his lips. "Bienvenue," he said simply. "I'm Adrien. I work at the hotel nearby. If you need help." His eyes flicked toward her suitcase, then back. "I think I might have some experience with new arrivals." Emilia felt heat rush to her cheeks. "Experience with new arrivals?" "Emilia," she offered, extending a hand that felt suddenly clumsy. He shook it gently. "Adrien," he said, and she noticed the way his smile lingered just enough to make the corner of his eyes crinkle. It was a little dangerous, and yet comforting. She laughed nervously as a pigeon flew between them, scattering crumbs from a nearby bench. "Of course, a pigeon. Paris is doing everything it can to make me feel like a disaster." After a few minutes of fumbling directions, Adrien offered to walk her to the Hôtel Lys, a boutique hotel tucked on a quiet street lined with beige houseman buildings and wrought iron balconies overflowing with flowers. The sunlight struck the windows just right, catching dust motes and making them glitter like tiny fairies. Emilia inhaled, letting the city's charm seep into her bones. Inside the hotel, she was greeted with warm lamps, lavender-scented air, and a quiet hum of soft jazz. A few guests chatted over cappuccinos, their voices blending with the clinking of cups. Adrien's presence was a steady anchor, guiding her through the lobby as she tried not to trip over her own shoes. When she finally reached the desk to check in, her suitcase got caught under the counter. Emilia gasped, trying to free it. Adrien crouched beside her without hesitation. His hands brushed hers for a brief, electric moment. "There," he said softly, lifting the suitcase just enough. "All better." Emilia swallowed hard. "He just touched my hand and my heart skipped." Her first day at the hotel began with an excitement. Emilia's role was to revamp the hotel's social media. Instagram posts, reels, TikTok stories, everything that would make the boutique hotel feel like the place every stylish traveler wanted to check into. She had prepared meticulously. Pinterest boards, trend analyses, captions, hashtags. She was ready. Or so she thought. Her first assignment was shooting the hotel's signature breakfast setup. Croissant, berries, espresso, sunlight. Perfect Instagram lighting. She arranged the pastries on the marble counter with careful precision and pulled out her camera. Adrien appeared beside her, carrying a tray of freshly baked pain au chocolat. He crouched slightly to place it near the croissant. "Careful," he said gently. "They're delicate." I know," Emilia said, adjusting a croissant that refused to sit straight. She didn't notice the slight tilt of her camera or the pastry sliding perilously close to the edge. Adrian's brow furrowed. "Maybe try this angle. Natural light from the window, but not too much glare." Emilia nodded, feeling a little flustered. He's just trying to help, but he's so good at everything. In her nervousness, she accidentally knocked over a small glass of orange juice. It spilled across the counter, dripping toward the floor. She jumped back. "Oh no, I'm so sorry." Adrian grabbed a towel before it could reach the polished wood. "It's fine. Really, don't worry." The sound of heels clicking on the floor drew their attention. A tall, elegant woman in a sharply tailored suit entered the room, scanning the scene with a critical eye. "Who is responsible for this chaos?" she asked coolly. Emilia's stomach sank. "I knew," she stammered. The woman raised an eyebrow. "Of course you are." She turned toward Adrian. "And you're?" "Adrian," he replied politely. The woman nodded, her gaze sharp. "I'm Vivienne. I handle guest relations and branding." "Welcome to Paris, Emilia. I'll be watching your work closely." Emilia forced a smile. Of course, the first rival appears immediately. Adrian's hand brushed hers again, a reassuring touch. "Don't worry about her," he said softly. "She's intimidating, but she's mostly dramatic." Emilia's cheeks warmed. He's calm, warm. Maybe I can survive this city after all. Later that afternoon, the hotel received an urgent request, a VIP guest arriving early, craving a special breakfast of croissant, berries, and lavender-infused tea. The kitchen staff was overwhelmed. The pastries weren't ready, and the florist delivering fresh flowers was running late. Emilia's mind raced. She couldn't let the social media moment fail. She grabbed her phone and quickly rearranged the available pastries, borrowed fresh herbs from the herb garden, and suggested a small improvisation with Adrienne's guidance. Adrienne watched her, silently amazed as she moved decisively, despite her inexperience. "Nice choice of lighting," he murmured, leaning close to adjust a small vase. Their shoulders brushed. A subtle electric warmth traveled through Emilia. The photos were perfect. The guest arrived, delighted. Adrienne smiled at her, a quiet acknowledgement of her ingenuity. "You handled that beautifully," he said, voice low, almost intimate. Emilia's heart fluttered. Thank you for helping and for not panicking at me." He chuckled softly. "Paris is full of chaos. You did well." As they stood together, adjusting the last details of the breakfast setup, Emilia realized something. She liked him. Not the obvious instant spark kind, but the quiet simmering pool that made her pay attention to every word, every glance. For the first time since arriving, she felt competent, excited, like she could belong. Paris wasn't just a city. It was a challenge, a teacher, and maybe a place where hearts could unexpectedly collide. And Emilia had just taken her first small step toward both professional success and something more. The next week at the Hotel Lee was chaos wrapped in elegance. Emilia thought she was beginning to find her rhythm, posting morning stories, creating reels of Adrienne's culinary artistry, engaging with followers. But Paris, as always, had other plans. It began with a tiny miscommunication. Adrienne had asked her to schedule a breakfast shoot for the upcoming VIP weekend. Emilia misread the timing, setting the posts for Thursday instead of Friday. When Adrienne entered the kitchen the next morning, he merely dropped the tray of bain-à. "Thursday?" he asked, stunned. "The VIP arrives Friday. The post should build anticipation." Emilia's stomach sank. "Oh no, I thought..." Adrienne's eyes softened slightly, but there was a crease of concern. "It's okay. We'll fix it. But attention to detail is critical here." She nodded, biting back her frustration. Her first real mistake in Paris, and it stung more than she expected. Meanwhile, Vivienne, who had been silently observing her every move, appeared at just the right moment. Arms crossed, lips pursed. "I see social media is learning the ropes," she said with a thinly veiled smile. "I hope the VIP sees the best side of the hotel, not your experiments." Emilia forced a polite smile. Why does she have to be so perfect? Adrienne stepped closer, almost shielding her. "Don't mind her. You're doing well." She felt the warmth of his presence like a shield, and her heart fluttered, even amid the stress. The tension didn't stop there. Later during lunch, a minor fire alarm went off in the kitchen. Someone had left the oven on. And Emilia panicked, worried that the social media content she had just scheduled would be ruined if guests saw chaos. She ran to the terrace with her camera in hand, trying to stage a Parisian breakfast moment before the staff could notice the smoke. Adrien arrived moments later, wiping his hands on a towel. "Emilia, calm down. The guests will see perfection if we handle this quietly. Let me manage the oven. You focus on the story." She took a deep breath and realized she had been holding it in all morning. Adria's calm, reassuring presence grounded her like nothing else in the city. But then Vivienne appeared on the terrace, sipping an espresso. She arched an eyebrow at Emilia's frantic setup. "A little dramatic, don't you think?" Adrien's jaw tightened slightly. "She's doing her best. That's all that matters." Vivienne's lips curved into a faint smirk. "Of course, best." Her tone carried a subtle but cutting implication, and Emilia felt a flicker of doubt. Is she right? Am I really good enough here? Adrienne noticed her hesitation and leaned closer. "Ignore her, seriously." The warmth of his hand briefly brushing hers made her forget the tension entirely. But the moment was fleeting. Vivienne's smirk lingered like a shadow over Emilia's confidence. That evening, Emilia sat on her tiny balcony overlooking the quiet Parisian street. The city lights twinkled, but her mind was stormy. Every misstep she had made that week felt amplified. The mistimed post, the near-kitchen disaster, Vivienne's constant scrutiny. Maybe I don't belong here, she thought. Maybe Paris isn't magical. Maybe it's just hard. She remembered Adrienne's words, his calm encouragement. And yet she couldn't shake the fear that she was failing, professionally and socially. Her friends back in New York had told her she could do anything. Yet here, amidst cobblestones and croissants, she felt small. Her phone buzzed. A new Instagram notification, a direct message from a follower. "Your posts make the hotel look amazing. I feel like I'm there." Her heart lifted for a brief moment. Maybe I am good at this. Then her reflection in the glass caught her eye. She saw a woman who looked polished, poised, confident on the surface, but who inside was still anxious, unsure. Adrien's image came to mind. His patience, his warmth, his quiet confidence. And she realized her admiration for him had grown into something deeper, something she hadn't fully admitted even to herself. But can someone like me, someone so new, so naive, belong in his world? Her balcony became a mirror, not just of her reflection, but of her uncertainty, her longing, and the unspoken romantic tension building between her and Adrien. The weekend arrived. VIP guests, sparkling lights, elegant dinners. The hotel was alive with energy, and Emilia felt a mixture of excitement and terror. Everything could go wrong, but she had a plan, one she crafted with Adrien's guidance and her newfound confidence. The morning of the VIP breakfast. Emilia implemented her ideas. Perfectly staged tables, a subtle Instagram story sequence that highlighted Adrien's culinary artistry, and a live reel showing the hotel's chart in real time. She coordinated seamlessly with the staff, including Adrien, who moved effortlessly between cooking and supporting her. The guests arrived, enchanted by the aesthetic and charm of the hotel. Every smile, every compliment bolstered Emilia's confidence. Adrien leaned close at one point, whispering, "See, you do belong here." Her heart skipped a beat. I couldn't have done this without you." He gave a small, genuine smile. "You didn't need me. You were brilliant." Meanwhile, Vivienne's watchful gaze softened. She approached Emilia quietly. "You handled that beautifully. I may have underestimated you." Emilia blinked. "Thank you, I appreciate that." Vivienne's tone was lighter now, and for the first time, Emilia saw the truth. Vivienne wasn't cruel. She was protective of the hotel's image, a perfectionist, and someone who had tested her only to see if she could rise to the occasion. As the breakfast ended, Adrien approached Emilia one last time before returning to the kitchen. "You were amazing today, truly." Emilia smiled, a mix of relief, pride, and unspoken longing. "Merci, Adrien. Truly, thank you." And in that moment, amidst the aroma of fresh pastries, soft Parisian sunlight, and gentle hum of conversation, Emilia felt the first true spark of belonging. In the hotel, in the city, and maybe in Adrien's world. The soft hum of Paris at dusk filtered through the tall windows of the Hotel Lys. Emilia stood on the small balcony of her apartment above the hotel, looking down at the cobblestone streets glowing with golden light from the street lamps. The city was alive, yet calm, and for the first time in weeks, she felt as though she truly belonged. Earlier that day, she had handled a delicate PR crisis. A last-minute VIP booking had collided with a social media campaign, threatening to turn the hotel's reputation upside down. But thanks to Adrien's quiet guidance, her own creativity, and a few improvisations that only Paris could inspire, she had navigated the chaos with a mixture of grace, charm, and a little improvisation. Paris has a rhythm, she thought. Chaotic, impossible, beautiful, and somehow I am learning it. A soft knock at her door pulled her from her reverie. Emilia, Adrian's voice, warm, gentle, slightly hesitant. She opened the door to find him holding a small bouquet of wildflowers he'd picked himself, a faint smudge of flour still on his chef's jacket. "I thought you might like these," he said, shifting from one foot to another. His smile, soft and genuine, made her chest flutter. "They're beautiful," Emilia said, taking the bouquet. Their fingers brushed, and an electric spark ran up her arm. "Thank you, Adrian." He lingered for a moment, looking at her with that quiet intensity that made her pulse quicken. "I wanted to say thank you," he murmured, "for everything, for being brave, creative, for not letting Paris scare you." Emilia felt her lips curve into a shy smile. "I couldn't have done it without you. You made me believe I could." Adrien took a small step closer, lowering his voice. "You didn't need me. You were already brilliant. I just got to watch." The air between them was charged, the kind of magnetic tension that had been simmering since the very first moment they'd collided on the Gare du Nord platform. Emilia's heart raced. This is it. Paris, him, this moment. But the city had a way of reminding her that nothing was ever simple. Just as she leaned forward, ready to close the distance, the phone in her pocket buzzed. A last-minute request from Vivienne appeared. A note about a VIP guest's private dinner that needed social media coverage. Emilia sighed, the real world tugging at her. Adrian noticed her hesitation and smiled, almost teasingly. "Go on, handle it like the pro you are." Professionalism first, Emilia reminded herself. She texted Vivienne back, confirming the plan, and returned to Adrian. He didn't leave, didn't step back. He was a quiet presence, patient and warm. Finally, Emilia placed the bouquet on the small table beside the balcony, letting the fragrance of wildflowers mingle with the fading scent of Parisian evening air. Adrian reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face, his fingers lingering just long enough for her to catch her breath. I think I've been waiting for this," he murmured. Emilia tilted her head, heart hammering. "Waiting for? For you. Not the hotel, not the chaos, but you. I wanted to know that you see the city the way I do, that you can handle it, and that maybe we could?" He trailed off, his gaze locked on hers. Her heart soared. She reached up slowly, placing her hand over his. "Adrien, I think we already could." And in that moment, the city seemed to pause. The soft glow of the street lamps, the distant sound of a violin from the corner café, the aroma of fresh croissant from the bakery below. It all became a cinematic tableau of possibility. Later that evening, the Hotel Lee hosted a small rooftop cocktail for staff and select VIP guests. The city sprawled around them, Eiffel Tower glittering faintly in the distance as twilight painted the sky in lavender and gold. Emilia moved through the crowd confidently now, her camera in hand, capturing spontaneous moments. Adrienne plating desserts with playful precision, Vivienne offering a genuine compliment about her work, and staff members laughing at a small inside joke. Adrienne appeared beside her, leaning casually against the railing. "You've changed the energy here," he said softly, almost as if he were confessing a secret. everyone feels lighter, happier. You brought something new, something that didn't exist before. Emilia felt her chest tighten with pride and something more. I learned from the best, she said, glancing at him. He laughed softly, the kind of low, warm sound that made her toes curl. I'm just a chef. You're the one who made it all visible. Their hands brushed again, a subtle, silent acknowledgement of all the moments, the tension, the shared laughter, the chaos, the mistakes, and victories. Vivienne, approaching with a tray of champagne fruits, gave Emilia a rare, warm smile. I admit, I was skeptical, but you handled everything today beautifully. Emilia raised her glass. Merci, Vivienne. Truly. Vivienne's eyes lingered on Adrian briefly, a small, knowing smile playing at her lips. Then she moved on to mingle with other guests. Emilia noticed, but didn't let it unsettle her. She was no longer the nervous newcomer. She belonged, and she felt it. Adrian leaned close, whispering, "Shall we take a walk?" The city waited. They descended the hotel staircase, stepping into the soft glow of the Parisian evening. The streets were quiet now, cobblestones reflecting the lights from small cafés and boutique windows. They walked side by side, the kind of easy companionship that had taken weeks to build, now effortless. Adrian stopped near a fountain, the water reflecting the shimmering lights. He turned to Emilia, expression unreadable for a moment. Do you know, I've never met anyone like you. Emilia felt her heart thud. Why's that? You see things differently. You take risks, even small ones, and you care. Not just about your work, but about people. And somehow, you make me want to be better. Her cheeks warmed. Adrien, that's wow. He smiled softly, the corner of his lips tugging just enough to make her chest flutter. I mean it, and I want to see where this goes, if you let me. Emilia's breath caught. Adrien, I'd like that. A soft laugh escaped him. I'm glad. I was worried I'd scare you off with all this slow burn charm. She rolled her eyes playfully. It's working. And for the first time, they didn't have to rush, explain, or overthink. Paris wrapped them in its magic, and the city, with all its chaos and elegance, felt like home. The next few days passed like a dream. Emilia's posts went viral. The hotel received glowing reviews, and Adrienne's desserts were praised by both guests and critics. They moved through their routines, her camera, his kitchen, but always with small touches, shared laughter, lingering glances, brushes of hands. One evening, Emilia captured Adrien plating a delicate dessert for an Instagram story. He looked up, caught her eye, and winked. The city's lights reflected in his eyes. That little spark, she thought. This is the moment Paris starts feeling like my city. Vivienne stopped by, this time genuinely smiling. You've done well, Emilia. The hotel, it feels alive because of you. Emilia felt a deep satisfaction, not just professionally, but personally. She had survived the chaos, proven herself, and found something unexpected: warmth, connection, and maybe even love. The story ends where it began, on her balcony, overlooking the streets of Paris. Adrien joins her, holding 2 cups of hot chocolate. They lean against the railing, shoulders brushing, watching the city lights twinkle. Paris feels different now, Emilia says softly. Adrien smiles, nudging her gently. Because you're different now. You brought your spark here. She laughs, leaning slightly into him. And you brought calm chaos? He laughs too, a low, warm sound. Something like that. They stand together, watching the city breathe, hearts quietly racing. Paris glows around them. The camera pans out, capturing the skyline, the tiny balconies, the warm lights of cafés. The faint sound of an accordion drifts through the streets. A subtle romantic tension remains, a promise that their story is just beginning. But for now, in this moment, it is enough. Sweet, chaotic, Parisian perfection.